Hi and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be looking at who's dreaming of you and what do they want to say. And the roles can be reversed in this situation. This can be somebody that you have been dreaming of and then taking a look at what they want to tell you. There are three groups to choose from. Group one is this purple fluorite tower, along with these cards. Group two is the Caribbean calcite heart, along with these cards. And group three is the Satin Spar, along with these cards. So if you want to take a moment to center, focus on your breathing, and feel whichever group, maybe multiple groups or perhaps all of the groups that you are most drawn to. I'll give you a minute to make your selection and then we'll get right into it. And there are timestamps for each group in the description box of the video if you would like to jump ahead, which I do recommend using so that you can skip over me shuffling cards in between groups to clear the energy of the group I've just read for and tap into the energy of the group I'm about to read for. So again, I'll give you a minute. Please use the timestamps and we'll get into your reading. Hi, Group 1. You chose the purple fluorite tower, along with these cards, which I'll take a look at in just a minute. This can be kind of the general overview of what this person that you are dreaming of or that is dreaming of you, what do they want to tell you? What do they want to say? So I'm going to start with some tarot to get kind of a feel about who this might be, maybe some clues about what's going on between the two of you currently, some zodiac signs for Group 1. Okay, and we have the Hanged Man, which is Pisces energy. And we've got the Six of Cups, so water energy, Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. Nine of Cups, so more water energy. Temperance, which is Sagittarius. Seven of Cups, more water energy. And Queen of Cups, so water again. So definitely there could have been a lot of emotional turbulence with this person. They could be a pretty sensitive individual in general, maybe somebody who even has had some difficulties with being emotionally vulnerable. Somebody who has been needing to kind of work on their communication skills, somebody who holds a lot back in terms of opportunities for deep intimacy. They could kind of have some wounds from the past, some heartbreaks that have kind of made them sort of shut down, kind of put a wall around their heart, hesitant to really open up and experience and express what it is they're feeling. This can also be somebody who is very artistic by nature, so they have found maybe other outlets to expressing emotions that they might not be so good in words with conveying. This definitely feels like somebody from your past with the Six of Cups, maybe somebody that you knew kind of in childhood or earlier in life, or there's a sense here of there being some measurable amount of time that has passed since you were last dealing with this person. Maybe there was even some kind of a, like a fight or some kind of an impasse that you reached in terms of, again, this sort of sense of a lack of ability to be very emotionally vulnerable, which could have put a wedge in this dynamic, in the relationship in terms of moving forward. Somebody who, you know, it might have been kind of one-sided in the sense of you really investing, pouring into this, expressing your love, and this person with the Hanged Man just, you know, really holding back, not giving of themselves fully, not opening up fully. And so again, kind of a separation that you two might have gone into with the Hanged Man, where, you know, communication might be literally blocked or at least very strained if there's any communication in the 3D sense at this point in time. Somebody who may have even said that they needed to take some time away from the connection to find themselves, to figure out what it is that they want. Somebody who might not have been ready for commitment, ready to take those steps toward developing this situation further. With the Nine of Cups, though, and also the Queen of Cups, there's definitely a lot of love here, a lot of deep emotion that still exists and flows between the two of you, even in the separation. So a strongly empathic bond between the both of you. There could be a strong telepathic communication still in kind of the distance, or as 3D communication is sort of strained or limited. But there's a sense of really being able to pick up on and perceive what it is that this person is going through. And kind of a process that you have then needed to sort of embark upon with this temperance here of learning to really separate their energy from your energy. And this might have been almost a blessing in disguise, kind of what has happened here, and kind of the persistence of this energetic bond, this empathic bond between the both of you, because it feels like something that has propelled you into sort of this period of deep introspection for yourself. Again, learning to decipher and discern what is an emotion or a feeling or a sensation or a state of mind that has a genesis in your material reality, in things from, you know, maybe your past, shadow work that you've been doing, versus things that are coming up very sporadically or don't really have any kind of an explanation, and learning to sort of establish barriers and boundaries for yourself with this element of choice here in the Seven of Cups. This could be somebody that you have chosen to kind of move forward in another direction in your life. You've chosen to sort of release this. You've made a choice to not carry the weight, the burden almost, of some of these deep feelings, these unprocessed feelings that this person has and that you're picking up on. You've made a choice to invest in yourself, self-love, choosing yourself over being almost kind of a conscious or a deliberate or a very active anchor for this person. A lot of compassion and love that you could have for them, perhaps still even across, you know, again, a measurable amount of distance or time. But it seems like a turning point has happened where you have sort of redirected your focus to pouring into your own cup toward, you know, working on your satisfaction, your stability, working on your mental and emotional health. And, you know, just really allowing this person the ability to sort of sort these things out on their own. A deep prioritization that may have occurred, again, in, you know, focusing on your own abundance, on what brings you happiness. You may have even moved in another direction romantically, or have at least made the choice to open yourself up to that possibility. If this is someone you resonate with as a twin flame, for example, and there might have been some kind of a runner-chaser dynamic, at a certain point you could have made this choice to kind of discontinue that chase, to sort of cut off all the investment of energy and emotion and hope, and this kind of very active stance of waiting for this person, which just sort of led to this stagnancy and kind of a perpetuation of whatever this difficulty that you faced in the past is. You might have, again, made this choice to work on yourself, to heal yourself, to open yourself up to love and partnership with somebody else, with somebody who has done this work, with somebody who is emotionally available, who is ready, willing, and able to have an equal exchange, this reciprocity here with the temperance, you know, pouring into one another's cups. And it almost feels like a decision that has been made in that sense, or work that you've done on yourself. This may have been a decision you've made recently, or in the not so recent past, but you've reached some kind of a point within yourself, some kind of a point of healing, coming into a place of balance, coming into a place of being at peace with what has happened with this person for the most part, being at peace with allowing them to sort of process and work through this journey on their own, without all that added pressure of, you know, expectations of reunion in a 3D sense, of reconciliation. It almost feels that you've come to that reconciliation internally. You've been seeking to create balance between the masculine and feminine polarities within yourself, coming to peace with your past, coming to peace with, again, what has occurred with this person, and kind of letting them go with love in order to walk their own journey, to make those decisions to change or to remain stagnant. And through the work of doing this, through this process that may have been kind of ongoing, you've reached a certain stage in your vibrational alignment, in your ascension journey, where you are, you know, it might still be a struggle, but you're able to fill your own cup more. You're really embodying that self-love energy. And it feels like it's really set an example for this person energetically. Maybe something that they have seen in the 3D reality, if they're watching you on social media, or again, if they're kind of on the peripheral of your existence, and, you know, you kind of have limited contact with them. They're recognizing this. They're seeing this glow up, this shift in your energy, this change in your vibration, maybe even in the way that, you know, you carry yourself in your life. In a lot of ways, things might have changed, and it almost feels that whatever has shifted, whatever choice has been made, whatever direction has been altered, or kind of this decision to, you know, prioritize yourself as opposed to putting your own needs on hold, in order to sort of facilitate and support and be this very, you know, active anchor for this person who just, for a period of time, and maybe even still to some degree, is just kind of in this holding pattern, this indecision, unwilling to sort of free themselves and do the work necessary, dig into those emotions, pull up some, you know, better communication skills, or learn these things, seeking to really process a lot of sort of deeply embedded wounds and disappointments that might have, again, operated as a wedge between you previously. But it's something where, again, your choice to kind of break trail, to do something different, it's been perceived by this person in some capacity, and that feels sort of the reason why you might be dreaming about them again for the first time in a while, or those dreams are increasing. They're becoming more profound. They're things that you remember the next day even. There could be a lot of healing that's taking place in the dream state as well. Conversations that you're having with this person. It almost seems like a different form of interaction with them than what you had been accustomed to before. That it's a lot more positive, that interaction with them in kind of that liminal space. And this also feels like something that, again, the work that you have done on yourself, it has sparked something within this person. Vibrationally, they are perceiving you in a different manner. It does feel like there is still an energetic bond between the both of you, as much much as you have, chosen to redirect your focus onto self and not so much onto that, the state of that bond or the existence of that bond or that cord between the both of you. But what you have shifted it is had a boomerang effect onto this person, where now you are coming into their dreams. They're thinking about you during the day, thinking, or encountering you in that kind of liminal space, in that kind of dream state. And through that, it seems that it's really, it's giving them some kind of hope, some kind of an inspiration, some kind of a new perspective about you, maybe things about you that they were unable to see or recognize before, maybe even some fears about doing some of this deep, digging, these deep dives, this shadow work, prioritizing oneself over trying to kind of fit in and fulfill the needs and accommodate the needs of others. Something about this has really, it's inspiring this person to again kind of come out of that holding pattern, to free themselves. And through the dream state, it feels almost like that first exploration, like testing the waters, or being very drawn to that, being very magnetized to that, whatever this vibration is that you have cultivated and you are holding within yourself, the balance you have achieved, honoring your feelings, both the heavy feelings and the feelings of elation. And so in some way, again, this has really affected this person energetically and has kind of opened the door to kind of a deeper or renewed interaction with one another in that dream space. So now I'm going to take a look at these oracle cards and see what do they want to tell you? What do they want you to know? Okay, and we have music, make music. So double confirmation there. Music might be very significant for the two of you. You could be getting a lot of song lyrics that are significant to this connection, getting kind of messages or communicating with them energetically, feeling their presence around you while you are listening to specific songs or particular type of music. This person could also be musically inclined, or you are musically inclined. There's a sense of really connecting with one another in that state, kind of in this idea of chords or vibrations as well, that also something having shifted in this dynamic where you might have really sort of been dwelling with this person, this connection really existing on a certain octave, and something has transformed, something has changed. You've raised your vibration, and it has now opened the door to allowing this connection and presenting an invitation for this person to also kind of raise their vibration, turn the volume up on some things they may have been avoiding within themselves, and also this desire here with music to kind of move into a state of harmony with you. Somebody who is not comfortable with the stagnancy. They're not comfortable with the dissonance that might exist between you currently, or kind of even a sour note that things were last left on. There is this change and this renewed desire to almost participate with this connection, participate with you more energetically, to kind of co-create something out of this, instead of kind of running from this connection, running from this energy, trying to push this away, opening themselves up to really experiencing that, to being moved by that. Music also really ties into the emotions. It's something which is experienced at an emotional level. So this really indicates that this person, they're wanting to let you know that a lot of things they may have been avoiding within themselves, they are starting to look at these things. They are starting to do that work within themselves. And it almost feels in part thanks to the work that you've chosen to do on yourself, thanks to the redirection of focus that you have opted to take in your life, it has afforded them this time and space and this perspective that change is also necessary for them. This feels like somebody who's been kind of suffering unnecessarily, or who became very accustomed to a lot of heaviness and emotional avoidance. And they're almost looking to you, again, in a literal sense or a vibrational sense, as an example, to sort of take some of this this pain and this heaviness and turn it into something of beauty. There's an energy of redemption here as well, things that they may have had shame about, guilt about, painful memories, things that they have just not been able to really overcome, that had eroded them at an emotional level. It had had an impact on their self-esteem. It had led to maybe self-sabotaging behaviors in this connection and other areas of their life. There's a sense of this person starting to pick up those pieces and really do something with that, looking at kind of everything that has happened, everything that they have done to others and that has been done to them, and trying to kind of piece this together and figure out, what sort of good can come of this, what benefit can come of this for themselves first and foremost, and then how can that sort of be translated out into kind of a more meaningful interaction with others of kind of a positive or a nurturing capacity, as opposed to, again, being this sort of source of friction or dissonance. We've also got ancestral stories. So this can definitely tie in with that idea of some wounds of the past. Things, from childhood, early heartbreaks or a significant heartbreak that had really stuck with them. It had really damaged them. It had created this block within them, this inability to really trust in love, to open their heart up to love, to open their heart up to you and up to this connection. This feels like something where you almost were pouring endlessly your cup of love into somebody who maybe had no reservations or few reservations about kind of receiving that, accepting that, taking that love, but had difficulties or was unable or unwilling to really give much back. And while it's not an excuse, it feels like an explanation that they want to convey to you, that also to kind of provide some sort of peace of mind that this was not a deficiency in you. It is in no way kind of a measure of the merit of the love you had to offer, but this was some kind of a fracture within this person, some kind of a block within this person. Maybe even something that, as they are starting to really open up and kind of sit with their emotions and kind of wade through those deep emotional waters, they're starting to recognize how patterns that had been ingrained in them from early childhood, the family that they grew up with, how emotions were expressed or were suppressed, most likely in that family unit, in those formative years, how that has really kind of contorted this person's ability to be in touch with their own emotions, to be an emotionally available partner to others, to really, express their needs in an open and direct manner, as opposed to holding these things inside and then becoming very almost resentful when those needs that they had not articulated were not just innately met by another person. So any of these things or all of these things can be part of this idea of ancestral stories, something that this person is really working on, again, maybe inspired by the work that you've done on yourself, and that this is somebody who, is starting to take that peek inside, and this is what they are discovering. They're noticing patterns within themselves that may also have been kind of repeated, almost this idea of sort of a link in a very long chain. And this process, of again, recognizing these things within themselves and kind of the origin of that, the genesis of that, how that might mirror other relationships that they, were examples to them growing up, or even looking back at, kind of the deeper past and family stories, maybe even things within their culture or lineage, and recognizing a trend, maybe a role that they have taken on that has been kind of a series of distorted roles that other people, again, in this family line or this tradition or culture has really been carrying forth. This feels like somebody who's in this process of kind of breaking these things, wanting to rewrite the narrative for themselves personally, wanting to create a new kind of legacy, to show up in a different manner for themselves and for another romantically. And we also have awakening. So they could be going through a spiritual awakening right now, or something has just really clicked for them. Something has really started to make sense for them. They're seeing something from a new perspective. Somebody who, again, might have been very emotionally avoidant, a lot of self-sabotage energy here. They're starting to recognize how they've really been getting in their own way. They're starting to recognize this connection and the potential that was here, and really looking at the cup of love you had to offer, and any kind of rejection or refusal or a lack of reciprocity that had happened in the past, and sort of the disillusion that happened in this situation, the distance that then ensued, this idea of being kind of blocked off or walled off. This person is really coming to this understanding that what they've pushed away is in fact wish fulfillment. I'm kind of drawn to this imagery here in this deck. It's kind of muted colors, sort of black and white and gray predominantly, and then just with kind of very understated hues. But then in this deck here, you know, it's vibrant. It's kind of this lightness, this very pink energy. Same with this Make Music card, which is really drawing my attention to the heart chakra and again emotions. And it feels like somebody who was almost living in this black and white existence before, that there were very defined roles, there was very defined expectations of them, even how they were expected to act and expected to express their emotions. Kind of the pressure that they put on themselves for fulfilling, you know, a certain a caricature or a narrative that had been sort of gifted to them through their upbringing, or again kind of cultural factors, or even just something that they had kind of created for themselves as the result of disappointments and heartbreaks. And something is really becoming apparent to this person, that going through life like that, or specifically in this situation, maybe even through the empathic bond that they still have with you, sensing and feeling the change within you, anything they're able to observe in the outside world, they're seeing you, they're seeing this connection from a different perspective, and they're understanding how the situation here, this potential that exists, is so different than what they've experienced in love before. It's so different even than, you know, what they have seen growing up, or what is kind of the usual standard in whatever their culture or their tradition is. And there's a sense here of also this person maybe pushing this connection away, pushing you away because of this feeling of otherness, this invitation for healing, this invitation to step out into the light, into this brightness, into this very vibrant experience of love that is so different from the stories they've been told and the experiences they had had, that it was just almost instinctual to kind of push this away, to stick with what was comfortable and known, even stick in this energy of kind of being kind of miserable or mistrusting of love, not believing in that, dismissing that, or equating that with inevitable loss and confusion and hurt further down the road. But that something has changed within them, and they're recognizing that a road that was taken, a decision that was made, a route that was embarked upon, that it has only led to kind of a lackluster energy. It's led to more of the same. And now that they've had that kind of preview, that peek, that glimpse, or that taste of something different, it has stuck with them. No matter how much time has passed, if they've been in other relationships with other people, or have just kind of carried on in their life, they've not been able to forget you. They've not been able to forget what was touched upon in this situation. It's been something that has been calling to them across the distance. And something has really occurred where a surrender has happened, a shift has occurred, maybe other things in their material world have kind of fallen away, and they find themselves in this hanged man energy, with a lot of time on their hands to just sit and think. Maybe a series of, you know, again, things kind of crumbling down that have really forced this person to go within and look. That however they were living their life, however they were kind of approaching their emotional body and expressing or holding back, that this has come at their own expense. It's been to their own detriment. And so they are now in this place of really taking the time of not projecting blame, but turning that lens, that kind of perspective inward. What can be gained from this? Somebody who's taking responsibility for their actions and their inactions, and how this definitely could have contributed to almost the loss of love in a physical sense between the two of you, or kind of a missed opportunity, something that they had rejected when, you know, in hindsight, they're almost wishing that they had accepted that. They'd accepted that cup of love. They had walked through that door to experience this vibrance of connection that is so different from what they've known in other ways. So really seeing this potential here with fresh eyes, aware of themselves as well, and their role in this circumstance, and the role in their life, and in relation to their own emotions, and how they deal with these things, how they process these things and express or suppress these things. That a lot of clarity has come to them, and they're starting to see a way forward. They're starting to see that path to their own liberation that kind of comes from the direction of diving into those deep waters, places that they may have been afraid to go, kind of working through some of these patterns or these stories, the roles that they've been playing that were kind of passed down to them generation after generation, or even again with this idea of stories, the narrative that they have crafted for themselves because of particular heartbreaks. Somebody who might have experienced substantial disappointment and just became very pessimistic about love, just had a defeatist attitude about love going forward, and then was met with kind of these, like a self-fulfilling prophecy, expecting the worst and experiencing the worst. And then in a circumstance like this, in this connection with you, where they weren't experiencing the worst, it was actually contrary to that notion that they had developed or had embraced. And this feels like the energy of somebody who then maybe sought to sabotage it, to create that disappointment because it wasn't just happening naturally. And we also have sorrow. So this can really tie in with spiritual awakening, kind of a dark night of the soul energy that this person is in right now. They're having a lot of regrets for how they treated you, or how they, took you for granted, or didn't accept that cup of love, that healing, that opportunity for a new experience, a deep experience, a lasting and true experience in romance that had been offered to them in the past. A lot of regret here. A lot of wishing they could go back in time and do something different. Also, somebody who, again, is really tapping into these deep waters within themselves, processing a lot of sorrow and confusion and hurt that they've been holding on to. Maybe crying tears for themselves, for their childhood self, and how the ways in which they expressed emotions to others was rejected or was ridiculed, or was, they had come to believe that this was improper, this wasn't the way to do things. And so they maybe had learned to just sort of hold things inside, keep those tears within, and it's almost like that it's remained with them, it's stayed with them, it became this blockage within them that now through this process of awakening, or whatever has shifted within them personally, or even inspired by the shifts you've made, this kind of contagious energy, this vibration, this opportunity that has then been transferred to them, kind of across that liminal space, across that energetic vastness and intimacy that exists between the both of you, that this has really been something that has cracked this person open. They could also be going through kind of a heart chakra awakening, or an activation or an upgrade at this point in time, where again, this feels like very ancient tears that they've been holding within them. Perhaps even some past life wounds that they had carried forth into this incarnation, that really, interacting with you had triggered something they couldn't put their finger on, this sense of recognition, but then in conjunction with that, all this kind of embedded feelings of loss from other incarnations where, things didn't work out, or there was some kind of a profound fracture in the connection. Things that, in this lifetime, they've really been tasked with kind of breaking these chains, processing these things, feeling these emotions, releasing these emotions, so that they can open their heart up to love. They can open their heart up to writing new stories and having new experiences. Somebody who's in this process of learning to segregate love from disappointment, and is starting to really recognize that these two things do not necessarily need to be symbiotic. That there is experiences of romance out there, or there are experiences of romance out there that will lead to hurt and disappointment. But experiences of romance are also out there and do exist that will be very fulfilling. This connection, it feels like, being one of those things, an opportunity to teach this person and for them to learn and to experience kind of the beauty of what love can be. This feels like somebody who has learned a lot about what love is not, and sort of encountering you, this energetic dynamic with you, and kind of this inner knowing, this soul knowing, this subconscious knowing that this situation really had the potential to be that teaching experience of what love is, in a very pure and in a very consistent way. And this feels like somebody who, again, kind of these deep feelings of inadequacy or fears, or just things they hadn't processed, had limited them in the past from even feeling worthy to accept this cup of love. And so that rejection almost again sort of stemming from this idea of unworthiness within themselves, somebody who sought to sabotage this connection because they had this kind of distorted belief system that anytime love factors in, it just inevitably sort of crumbles and withers away. So almost somebody who wanted to maybe fast track that, or when that wasn't happening, when that wasn't sort of following that usual course of events, maybe had taken interventive measures to sort of create that process. But it's something that they're sitting with a lot of regret. They've gained a lot of perspective. You've remained in their heart. This situation with you has been persistent with them. This is not an out of sight, out of mind circumstance. But something has happened where they're starting to really do that cleanup work, pick up the pieces within themselves and move into a space of perhaps in the future being able to offer something in the form of reconciliation, or, you know, kind of working to sort of expand and clean up that heart space within them, cry those tears, process that pain that they've just been holding within them in order to step into that place of loving compassion for themselves, choosing themselves in the same way that you may have chosen yourself, in order that in the future, in the form of this connection or even other romances, if this is something where reconciliation is not an option, or it's something you're, you know, not open to, or through free will, this person just, you know, chooses not to overcome kind of those barriers of time and fear to approach you. In essence, they are in this preparation mode for making themselves both feel worthy and to be able to have something of worth to offer to others in romance. So I'm going to get some messages from this person's higher self, group 1, and see what else do they want to tell you. Okay, and they say, just wait on me, please don't give up on me. So they definitely are sensing some kind of an energetic shift within you, something where you've redirected your focus, you've made that decision to release this person, to allow them to kind of walk their own path, to come to this truth on their own. If you've been in that energy of waiting for some period of time and you've again kind of given up that energy of pursuit and are opening yourself up to the possibility of love, maybe with another partner, or have just been really investing on yourself, this person is picking up on this energetically, which again might account for kind of the resurgence or the intensity of dreams that you are having with them and of them at this point in time. But there is this energy of something has come to their attention. They are now aware of something. They're aware and can perceive you and this connection and even things about themselves that they were blind to or they were deliberately ignorant to before. This person is in this process of kind of cleansing, of clearing out within themselves, of coming to that space of really opening up to growth potential, learning some new skills, maybe learning some new communication skills. This is somebody who desires to change the circumstances between you, but understands the necessity of time, that they have so much growth to do. It's almost making up for lost time, things that they've been avoiding for quite a while, or perhaps even their whole life, or were unaware of as being kind of issues or obstacles. They're in this stage right now of addressing these things, working through these things. And with that comes the hope that on the other side of that, that the preparations they make to themselves will enable them to come to a place of having something of value and worth to offer you. And they also say, I'm being subliminal with how I feel about you. So if this is somebody that you have some degree of communication with currently, they might be giving little innuendos, hints, suggestions without coming right out and expressing their love for you. If this is somebody who is at a complete distance from you, and let's say you can see them on social media, they may again be dropping little hints, little innuendos, little things that feel very significant. This is somebody who is still kind of operating in that space of there are obstacles, there are blockages to this person opening up fully and expressing their emotions. But they're extending their energy to you in some capacity. This might even just be energetically feeling them around you, or again in dreams. a lot of telepathic communication, because it's all they're really capable of at this point in time, is this sort of subliminal energy, this sort of, this kind of under the cloak, kind of under the radar, this kind of sub rosa energy here, where they have so much that they want to say. They are tapping into that reality that they have and have always had and continue to have a profound degree of love for you. But there are things within themselves that are really standing in the way. Things that work, shadow work, emotional maturity that needs to take place, that they've been postponing or that they weren't even aware of before. And so at this point in time, it's again this kind of work in progress energy where they have this desire to reach out. They have this desire to fast forward to that time where they have the strength and they have the ability to express themselves to you and give you something of merit, of measure that can really, contribute to the situation, that can hopefully turn the page in the situation, as opposed to contributing just more sort of disappointment and confusion. But again, there's things that they need to sort of clear out from within themselves. There's things that they need to overcome, chains that they need to kind of unbind themselves from, trends and traditions that they need to kind of move away from, a new way of expressing themselves and of loving themselves, and therefore being able to love others, that needs to really take effect before any sort of measurable, significant, or constructive change can happen in the situation. And they also say, I regret walking away from you. So again, this idea of this is not an out of sight, out of mind situation. No matter how much time has passed, you have remained with them. You've remained in their heart. And it's something where even if this is a situation of self-sabotage, it feels like that is something they've been chewing on as well this whole time. It's almost like reinforced this idea of their own unworthiness. They've almost fetishized that. This act of kind of sabotaging, again, that vibrance of love, as they are then reflecting, or they're surrounded with, or they continue to magnetize in kind of these lackluster experiences, these disappointments in love. Each of these experiences, and the more that they sort of reflect, it brings up that contrast of that they did have that potential. They touched on that even just for a moment. That energy, that vibration, that again, that possibility or potential of something different, and kind of not being able to replicate that, not being able to duplicate that, not being able to find that again. If you do resonate as a twin flame or a twin soul, they are again seeing this very unique and extraordinary and singular component to this dynamic, this doorway into a higher level experience of love. And it's something which doesn't feel good for them. They don't feel good in this kind of gray, lackluster energy. It's something that might have felt very safe and very familiar, but it's now something that is, feeling almost constricting or stifling to this person, especially with all this kind of activation that is happening, these vibrational changes happening within this person, where they're starting to kind of take some blinders off. They are starting to kind of free themselves from this energy of distortion, seeing themselves with clearer eyes, seeing kind of their circumstances, the people they've been dealing with, the way that they've been approaching love from a fresh perspective. And it's leading into this energy of nostalgia, of wanting to kind of motivated to make these changes within themselves so that they can rise up into that place within them of being able to have something of value to offer. And they also say, I was in denial. So again, that idea of kind of a distortion or blinders, this deliberate ignorance that they had about the potential in this connection, about even heartbreaks that they'd been carrying around, stories that they had told themselves, or beliefs that they had about love and partnership and what that should look like, who they are, what kind of partner they are capable of being. All of these things just really kind of cluttered and got in the way of almost this opportunity that this love, the potential here that the divine had provided them, this opportunity for healing, this opportunity of rewriting that narrative, and somebody who was unable or unwilling to really face some of these deep emotions, that deep capacity to love within themselves, and therefore almost rejected or pushed away, or kind of missed that opportunity to participate in sort of this mutual and healthy love with you. And we also have, I reminisce a lot on the time spent with you. So more of that nostalgia energy, a lot of focus and attention going towards the past. And if they're able to see you in the present in some capacity, or even just feel into you energetically, they're really taking note of that. They are really, what they're seeing now or feeling now is causing them to sort of go back in their memory and to really recognize clues or signals or opportunities that they had missed, or that they had talked themselves out of, or that they had questioned. And it's this energy of regret. It's this energy of kind of this longing. And again, all of that focus can really attribute to kind of the resurgence of this person in the dream state for you, or feeling them energetically around you as well. And they also say, I'm a better person because of you. You really changed me. So confirmation there of the changes that you've made on yourself, reverberating to this person. They've been very inspirational to this person, even energetically, to free themselves, to come out of this kind of status quo energy and to make some kind of change, make change for themselves, with that kind of element of nostalgia, this understanding that they have that in order to change these circumstances, there must first be change within themselves, and some work, some deep shadow work, some deep emotional healing and maturation that they might have been avoiding or were unaware that was necessary. It has come to the forefront. They are embarking upon this. They have started this work, even in a very subtle way, even in a very internal and private way. Something has changed, something has shifted, and they feel very much inspired, very grateful for the example you have literally set or energetically set for them in this capacity. So I'm going to get some guidance for you, group 1, about the situation. Okay, and we have true love. This love is once in a lifetime. So confirmation there, if you resonate as a twin flame or a twin soul, this almost feels like an experience of love in the form of liberation. Almost in kind of, in a way, the act of you redirecting your focus upon yourself is a gift. It is a gift of love to this person so that they then have the opportunity to redirect the focus upon themselves as well. It's this idea of if you love something, set it free. And if it returns to you, then it's yours. It's meant to be. It's forever. And so this idea of liberation, this idea of an experience of the nature of true love, love which does not seek to contain or seek to control, but love which allows, allowing this person to make this choice for themselves, by themselves, to do this healing work, to kind of rise out of their circumstances, out of their situation. And also, allowing them that space to where, if they choose not to do that work, if they choose to just kind of remain in their patterns and their habits in a particular vibration, holding that core of love for them, but continuing forth in your own life regardless. On this card here, we also have this guy playing guitar. So a third confirmation there of music could be very significant, very important to this connection. You could be, again, getting a lot of song lyrics and hearing songs that remind you of this person, connecting with them in that space of music. That might be part of their healing process as well as something to do with music. This person could also be musically inclined and are maybe, writing a song about this, writing a song for you, connecting with you in that sense, using that sort of modality to process a lot of what they are feeling and experiencing that they don't have the ability to put to words. But this is definitely guidance to, continue to move forward with your life, continue to focus on yourself, focus on your healing, focus on, becoming that love you wish to receive from another. But then it's also some, encouragement to not be ashamed or feel that, in some way it's counterproductive to send this person loving vibrations, to wish them well, to hold them in a very loving space within you. The concept of moving forward, it doesn't mean to extinguish. We can still move forward in our lives from circumstances, from people even that we have deep and profound love with, and they can still hold that space within us of love. That doesn't need to be something where, because we're letting go, we're just we're completely dissolving or getting rid of that experience, that moment, touching upon that core of love. And, you know, so if you feel inclined to pray for this person, if you feel inclined to, you know, when you are feeling them vibrationally, when you're feeling their energy around you and you're dreaming of them, you know, whatever sort of feelings that brings up. And if you're feeling inclined to, again, kind of reciprocate that loving energy back towards them, then, you know, the guidance here is to just, you know, do that, to be open to that at sort of the higher energetic levels, beyond whatever complications are occurring or distance or separation at the 3D self, the two of you are very much one. This is an experiment. This is a learning tool, an experience in kind of the nature of love, in the sense of the perpetuity of that at the energetic sense, and kind of recognizing, you know, the physical circumstances between you as being very valid, being very real, but at the same time, not the totality of the reality of what exists between you. That you're very much connected, again, in those higher realms, and you know, regardless of kind of how you're able to communicate or the lack thereof in the 3D sense, you're very much encouraging and supporting each other from that higher sort of energetic vibration through these experiences, these lessons, and this growth that is happening in kind of a 3D sense. So, you know, any kind of longing and nostalgia that you have for this person, it's very much mutually experienced, and it's very much something that, you know, as you increase your vibration, it helps this person to do the same. As you love yourself, it helps this person to love themselves as well. This experience that you have with them is very unique. It's something which, again, don't feel ashamed to honor that, to, you know, give that a very special place within you. Even if you choose to move in the direction of other romantic connections, even if you're opening your heart up to love again, you know, in another form, or just kind of prioritizing love of self. It doesn't mean that you need to completely erase this and completely seek to sort of remove or you know, kind of, again, dissolve or eradicate this connection, this person, this experience. It's something that you can make room for them, while also making room for kind of new experiences, a deeper understanding of love and partnership in your life, if that's a direction that you choose to go in. So I'm going to get some initials for you now. Group 1, this can be first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or it could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Got M, K, H, W, I, Q, T, A, and L. So those are your messages, group 1. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. By doing that, it can help this video to reach others who might resonate with these messages or need to hear these messages, and it also helps my channel to grow. So I deeply appreciate, again, if you like, comment, or subscribe. If you would like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I also sell handmade jewelry and some, well, I used to sell divination tools, just handmade jewelry at this point in time in my Etsy shop if you're interested in checking that out as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, group 2. You chose the Caribbean Calcite heart, along with these cards, which I'll take a look at in just a minute. This will be kind of a general overview of what this person that you are dreaming of or that is dreaming about you wants to say. I'm going to start with some tarot to kind of get a feel for who this person is, maybe some clues about kind of the dynamic between the both of you, some zodiac signs for group 2. Okay, we have the Page of Pentacles, so earth signs, Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. 7 of Swords, just air energy, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. 5 of Pentacles, so more earth energy. Death, which is Scorpio. 2 of Swords, more air energy. And the Fool, which is Aries. So with the 7 of Swords, this could have been somebody who kind of ghosted you, abruptly cut off contact, cut off communication. This feels almost like an in and out energy where they may have leaned toward the connection only, you know, when things were going very well, conversations were going very well, only to kind of abruptly sort of pull back their energy, sort of shut down, or even giving kind of mixed messages. With this 5 of Pentacles, you know, leaving you in a sense of confusion, leaving you with a sense of betrayal or abandonment, especially if this person not just energetically pulled back, but you know, completely walked away from this connection with little explanation, or again, very suddenly, very abruptly, maybe even kind of trying to take back the words that they had said, kind of leaning into this, making some kind of an offer with the Page of Pentacles here, maybe expressing that they were ready to take things to the next level. Somebody who might have been the one to initiate contact, initiate the relationship with you, the one to reach out first, the one to make the move first, and things are going very well. You're talking, you're getting to know each other. You know, the flow of energy is it's going very smoothly. It seemed like the two of you are on the same page, only to have this person almost get spooked and sort of pull back, or you know, leaving you then with this sense of, did you say something? Was it something that you had done? Leaving you with a lot of questions, not a lot of answers. This can be something also with this idea of the 5 of Pentacles. This could have been somebody that you lived with at a certain point in time. Even with the Page of Pentacles, maybe somebody you were engaged to at a certain point in time as well, and kind of somebody who sort of broke off the engagement, or you know, kind of broke up with you very suddenly, kind of out of nowhere, and it left you with this sense of confusion, of not really knowing what had gone wrong, not really knowing where to go, maybe even needing to, you know, relocate in general, or, you know, the circumstances of this being something where, you know, it caused a shakeup to your entire life. Maybe even you had kind of friends in common with this person, some kind of community in common with them, that this circumstance, whatever has occurred, that with the Death card here, this ending, this finite ending, it sort of has compromised everything, where you're feeling almost like an outcast in a sense, not being able to you know, really kind of fit into a lot of the other circumstances that you had at one point in time kind of deemed to be your reality. With the 2 of Swords here, this can be something where communication is blocked off, where again, you're left with a lot of sort of questions and not a lot of answers. You could have really been, you know, in your head about this, and just kind of going back and forth, a lot of confusion. Trying to kind of find the answers, going over all kinds of possible scenarios and situations, and just really feeling at a loss. Again, this idea too with community, or maybe even something with your living situation having changed or having been eroded through this person's actions, or through the way in which they sort of withdrew from the connection, that you really found yourself blocked off from kind of being able to sort of pick up the pieces and rebuild in that sense. So with the Fool, you've had to set off an entirely new direction This can also be an indication of these circumstances really plummeting you into kind of this dark night of the soul energy, where you have had no choice but to set your sights elsewhere. Kind of a series of doors that had closed. In terms of even your views on love, your views on connection, your views on this person and the role that they play in your life. Somebody that might have been kind of a source of joy and sanctuary that then became this source of sort of profound distress for you, a lot of uncertainty, triggering a lot of things, maybe even abandonment wounds, and kind of this sense also with death of this finality to this circumstance, to this situation, that there was no choice, nowhere to go except for forward. And you may have been kind of dwelling in this stuck energy for quite some time, really going over these circumstances, pining for this person, longing for this person, waiting, trying to keep yourself open and available, maybe trying to accommodate this person, trying to change things about yourself in the hopes that this person would recognize you, that they would see you, that they would see the error of their ways and come back. This is an energy of almost putting your life on hold in a certain way, or feeling so defeated by this circumstance that it was very difficult for you to pick yourself back up. A sense of almost kind of walking through this dark valley based on what had happened, that this situation, it called into question so many other aspects of who you are in your life in general, that a period of deep introspection, a period of kind of moving away from many other things aside from this connection and this connection as well, that this has consumed a lot of your focus, maybe in the recent past or for a while. But with the Fool here, it does seem that you've come to the point of realizing something needs to change, something needs to give. Nothing is being accomplished in this energy of kind of remaining stuck, of dwelling on the past, dwelling on this sense of loss, dwelling on these unanswered questions, that in some way, kind of holding out hope for this person's return, you've kind of turned a corner, and either have taken steps, or you're at the point of this realization that you need to be your own hero in this circumstance, that it's up to you to make change, that waiting around for this person to see the light, see the error of their ways is kind of almost getting you nowhere. It's just leaving you in this very stuck and very dense energy, this lonely energy, this isolated energy. And so with the Fool, this is almost this idea of kind of the butterfly coming out of the chrysalis. And so this deeply transformative period that you have been in, or, that you're in this process of deeply transforming the way that you're looking at this circumstance, that you're looking at the options that you have available to you at this point in time. What can be done? What can be made? What can be created of value out of these circumstances? You're at the point of really kind of crystallizing the wisdom, taking only what is necessary, the lessons here, and ready to embark in a new direction in your life, perhaps even opening up to love again, or even just opening your mind up to the possibility that, healing is possible for you in other ways. If you've been sort of putting all your hopes, kind of externalizing that on this person providing, again, some kind of an apology or explanation, really seeking outside of yourself for that vindication and that kind of that peace. This is a sense of recognizing that redemption, that release, that must come from within. That this peace that you are seeking, this kind of newness, this new energy from whatever you've been dwelling in, it's not something to be found externally. It's not something to be gained from the past. You've gone over the past long enough. You've rehashed this long enough. You've dwelled in this energy of being very outcast from your own life, very outcast from the joy and the possibility that still exists for you, these blessings and opportunities in a variety of ways that the universe has on the horizon that just requires your action steps to get there, kind of picking yourself up out of this energy of an ending with the Death card here, that brings with it new beginnings and resurrection. It's this idea of resurrecting yourself, recreating yourself. The phoenix out of the ashes is definitely the conjunction here of Death and the Fool, that you're coming to this place of enough is enough with this, coming to this place of peace and acceptance with what has happened, with the disappointment that has happened, and kind of learning to forgive yourself, or even sort of release any kind of density of resentment that you've been harboring for this person, or the density of sorrow and loss regarding these circumstances. You're taking your power back from all of this and choosing to move in the direction of something which can be more fulfilling, choosing to move in the direction of new experiences, new possibilities for yourself. Again, the wisdom that you've gained from this, how can you use that to kind of reconstruct a life for yourself? Maybe, having to revamp your entire life, an entire life makeover, or even just, kind of processing and reimagining how you view love and connection, how you view sort of the purpose of what happened here, where to go from here. How can this situation and kind of this devastation, how can this be to your benefit moving forward? A choice having been made to not dwell in that energy of defeat, but to move into that space of victory within yourself, despite these circumstances that in some way were very much kind of a destructive experience, that you're taking those pieces and constructing something very kind of new and exciting for yourself, opening up to the possibility of even feeling something other than kind of this energy of distress that you've been in maybe for quite some time. So I'm going to take a look at what this person that this situation applies to, that you could be dreaming about each other, or they're dreaming about you at this point in time, and kind of directing energy towards you in that sense as a consequence of that, as they're kind of thinking about their dreams the next day, or even that you're dreaming of them. Let's see what they have to say to you. And we have support. So this can really talk about somebody who's gaining some perspective, somebody who is kind of perhaps even been humbled in a lot of ways in their life. This feels like an energy of somebody who kind of is experiencing a bit of what you had experienced as well. And this isn't in the sense of, revenge or kind of karma getting them, but it's a sense of the energy that they have put out returning to them, teaching this person kind of the details of what kind of their unconscious actions, whatever this was that occurred here. It feels like something that was really stemming from a place of fear within themselves, perhaps even, fear of commitment, fear of taking things to the next level, fear of the intensity of this connection, and choosing that kind of approach to pull themselves away, to ghost, to withdraw, to just sort of abruptly sort of leave you with a lot of unanswered questions, instead of it walking, through that fire of fear toward, that light of love. This is somebody who chose to run from that. And kind of on the flip side, it feels that, they have also then encountered certain circumstances in their life of, people or circumstances choosing the path of fear over love, leaving them at a place of loss within themselves. This person could have needed to go inward to pray for guidance, to pray for support, to pray for an alleviation of the feelings that they have experienced, asking for signs, looking for a way forward. Somebody who, is also kind of in that outcast energy in a certain capacity. Even if this is something that's not reflected in their material circumstances, this feels like something that, even a significant kind of betrayal or some other relationship that they had in their life, somebody that they really felt was their support system, that had their back, was there for them unconditionally, has proven otherwise, has sort of almost revealed their true colors to this person of only being there kind of in the good times, and as things have gotten difficult or stressful, or maybe this is just a relationship of somebody using this person for companionship, using this person for some kind of a resource, or for some kind of personal gain, and once that kind of purpose had been served, that use had been fulfilled, and this person ceased to be of value, that this individual or even this this circumstance, this could even be something professionally, where this person kind of difficulties came up and they were discarded, they were laid off, or again, just kind of that element of a relationship, somebody else moving kind of away from them or not really supporting them in kind of their darkest hour, that this person is really starting to get this deeper appreciation for kind of the situation that they have sort of inflicted upon you, this element of trust that was then betrayed. And through this kind of experience that they are having, it's helping to support them rising up out of that energy. This very destructive period of time, this disappointing period of time, it's calling their attention back to what happened in the circumstance with you. It's giving them some perspective that they didn't otherwise have. It has now opened the door to the possibility of this person internally and personally changing their behavior, changing their actions, having that perspective, being very consciously aware of sort of how their just maybe their impulsivity, or again fear, and kind of what that triggered, that recoiling, kind of what that did, what came in the aftermath of that. And we also have be honest with yourself. So again, this person may be getting some kind of a wake-up call, has had some kind of a wake-up call, where they're no longer able to just sort of move through life blindly and completely oblivious to how their actions affect others. With this dragonfly here, this is, again, this idea of kind of metamorphosis. So some kind of a transformational period, some kind of a tower moment that this person is going through, some kind of a dark night of the soul energy that you've been through. They are now going through this. This is happening even just on an internal plane for them. But through all of that, through this difficulty, even through kind of the perspective that they have gained and how they're able to see this connection and what has happened with you with fresh eyes, it is transforming their view of themselves. It is transforming their view of the circumstances. It is transforming kind of the energy that they've been holding this in, that they've been holding you in this connection, and kind of this element of avoidance. This is somebody who's starting to really address themselves, and then is sort of as a byproduct of that, being able to really address what had happened with you, things that they would want to change, things they need to forgive themselves about as well. And also this element of any kind of a potential reconciliation or an apology, somebody kind of reintroducing themselves back into your life, understanding that changed action is the best form of apology. Dragonflies also are really connected to ancestors, and so in conjunction with the support card here, this person may be sort of seeking advice from kind of mentors. They might be even kind of digging into some things culturally to work through and kind of heal themselves, transform themselves, kind of rise up out of some of these shadowy energies, kind of move out of that polarity of fear more into the direction of love. That could be something that's significantly happening for them at this point in time. Or again, this element of really kind of praying for guidance, praying for, signs and solutions as far as how to sort of change some of these things, correct some of these behaviors within themselves, and also how to kind of change and correct or attempt to make amends in the circumstances with you in the future, becoming very cognizant of sort of the disappointment that they had inflicted upon you, and with that Fool energy as well, having this desire to change this, not wanting to have this be the end of the story, feeling this urge to kind of backtrack as well, kind of revisit the past, this inventory, again, this idea of amends that, they may be feeling in addition to other circumstances in their life, but definitely as far as this connection too. And we also have deep listening. So this is again that idea of somebody who is really taking to heart some lessons that they are being shown, that they are experiencing at this point in time. Somebody who may have been kind of in that state of running from things that were very intense or challenging, kind of choosing that route of fear versus sort of surrendering to love. The message is hitting home. This person is really, they're getting it. They are deeply understanding on some level, or are starting to, kind of the same vibration or idea of what they have put you through. And this is not, in the sense of, to be very happy if this person is, uncomfortable or things are not going wrong, but this is just them trying to let you know almost that they are in a period of time in their life where there are some difficulties going on, there's some disappointments going on, and this is it's a teaching time for them. It's a metamorphic time for them. They're thinking a lot about you, about the past, about what has occurred because of some perspective that they have been gifted through some difficulties that they themselves are going through as well. And we've also got change. So again, this idea of metamorphosis, a lot of things really crumbling down, a lot of illusions falling away for this person. This is somebody who's also sort of changing their perspective as far as their conduct, their behavior in the past, what might have felt like the right thing to do, or something that was just kind of carelessly or callously done. Kind of that element of ghosting and pulling away, and this person feeling that was the right decision to just sort of cut things off very abruptly, or just kind of leave you with a lot of unanswered questions. They're changing their mind about that. They're having a change of heart. They're having a change of perspective. This person could have just been very sort of self-directed, self-focused, and there's an essence here of that view, that landscape being widened somehow. They're changing their focus from just their own needs, their own level of comfort or discomfort, and they're starting to see things from others' perspectives. This feels like something where, this person may have just had a pattern of kind of running, of avoidance, kind of an avoidant attachment style. And they're starting to get some kind of understanding about that, some kind of awareness of that, maybe even looking into these things. Somebody who might even be seeking counseling for some of these things. Somebody who's really seeking to clean up their life in a certain way, or just kind of move beyond, or learn to work with some kind of patterns and ingrained habits within them. They're changing their approach to how they are dealing with others, how they are dealing with pressure and with stress and with deep emotions and with intimacy or fear of intimacy. So very transformative, a lot of kind of things being released, things being uncovered, illusions sort of coming to light. And again, this element of a very difficult, a very kind of heavy and painful cycle that this person is in, that this is very necessary. Kind of a takeaway from this is, again, this idea that whatever has happened and whatever you have been kind of left to grapple with, to deal with, to sit with, to come to terms with. This person didn't just go off into the horizon and, just carry on business as usual, life as usual, everything's great. They may have done that for a certain period of time, but something has shifted, something has changed. There's been a humbling experience or a series of things that have really almost brought them to their knees in a certain capacity, or has really necessitated them changing their view on how they recognize themselves, how they move through the world, how they treat other people. This is somebody who's starting to, again, kind of go through this personal metamorphosis as well. And somebody who, if they had been kind of running or avoiding this connection, there's also this element of a change in direction, a change in mind. Somebody who might have feared the intensity of this connection is now starting to recognize that stems from a very shadowy and distorted place within themselves. They're taking the steps necessary to heal these wounds within them, so that potentially in the future there can be some kind of a reunion or a reconciliation, or at least some kind of an apology that might be owed, that can be given, some kind of closure that can be provided, or even just coming to this deeper understanding within themselves about how their behavior affects other people, and then kind of the best apology being in the form of changed action, to kind of break that pattern, break that habit, break that cycle of kind of dealing with emotional triggers in this capacity, sort of this pattern of avoiding wish fulfillment in the interest of almost this element of self-sabotage. And we also have dreams. So another confirmation there that this person is most likely dreaming of you a lot. You two could be meeting up in dreams. There could be a lot of healing that is taking place in dreams as well. If there's still a lot of hard feelings, if this was still something where, it's taken you some effort to kind of pick yourself back up and move beyond this, you might not be open to the idea of hearing from this person again, or might be kind of closed off to the notion that, anything of substance and value could come of this. And so with that, kind of that blocked energy, or just that very decisive energy where you've made a choice, you've chosen yourself, you're moving in another direction, you're not willing to entertain this cycle or this energy any further. There's still an element of healing that needs to take place here. It feels like you've done a lot of healing on yourself. You've released this as much as possible, or you're on the road to doing that, just kind of picking up the pieces and moving forward, taking the lessons from this experience and utilizing that to kind of increase your discernment and your compassion moving forward. But it feels like, again, some element of kind of energetic healing is necessary here that might be taking place in the dream state. Even just meeting up with this person energetically, even if it's something where it's kind of a difficult dream, kind of a distressful dream, it's still tapping into kind of these embedded energies, these lingering hooks to that experience with this person, to this person in general, in order to really touch on these things so that you can kind of understand them. You can kind of remove these things, free yourself from these things, free this person from that by kind of taking back your own power. This can also indicate somebody who is, through this perspective that they've gained, and the more that they're healing and kind of doing this work on themselves, they're dreaming of the potential of perhaps even another chance with you, a future with you, doing things right. This could be somebody who's also kind of in this energy of lamentation, wishing that they had treated you better, wishing that they had handled this connection better, or handled fears that came up better, wishing that they had kind of leaned into this and talked to you about these things, as opposed to, just kind of withdrawing completely and leaving you with a lot of sort of unanswered questions and creating more kind of pain and confusion than was necessary in this circumstance. So the element of kind of daydreams, dreams at night, all of this is really, there's a lot of thought that's going into this. There's a lot of perspective. There can also be a lot of epiphanies that are coming to this person in the form of dreams that is helping provide them that perspective about sort of their role in this circumstance. It's helping them to really, thoroughly understand kind of the ways in which they were careless with your heart, and what that sort of resulted in. In some way, someone's been careless with their heart, or a circumstance has been very callous toward them that is giving them that insight, is helping them to kind of lean more into this space of being a compassionate person, of seeking to overcome some kind of wounds and distortions within them, so that they move through the world being more conscientious of other people's feelings, somebody who's taking that focus off of just themselves and starting to redirect it to others, so that they can be a more beneficial presence, especially for people that they love and that they have deep emotions for, as opposed to just being very self-directed as they may have been in the past. So I'm going to get some messages from this person's higher self for you, group 2, and see what do they want to tell you. Okay, and they say, I never meant to hurt you. It wasn't you, it was me. So again, that idea of somebody who's taking responsibility for their actions, somebody who is starting to recognize how some shadows and fears and distortions within them really negatively impacted this connection in the past. Somebody who, is at a place of coming to terms with that within themselves, starting to recognize that fear, starting to recognize through very tangible experiences in their own life, sort of that feeling of disappointment, the feeling of the rug being pulled out from under them. It's moving them into a space of compassion, though, for themselves, of being very proactive about changing their approach to things, changing their methodology, changing the way that they treat others and that they value others. And, part of this energy of again, almost this idea of amends that they may feel they need to make, you are on that list. It feels very, very much at the top of that list in terms of regrets that they might have, things that they wish that they had done better. This connection is definitely a circumstance that they wish they had handled in a different way. And they also say, I regret walking away from you. So more of that energy of kind of lamentation, recognizing some self-sabotage tendencies within them that had really kind of yielded the results in this circumstance. This is somebody that, is really kind of that change in direction, that change in perspective. Somebody who's kind of no longer running. They've been forced to discontinue that energy of almost running from themselves. And the more that they are looking at themselves, the more that they are kind of listening to what this fear is trying to tell them, listening to what these emotions are trying to tell them, tapping into that heart space, tapping into this wounded center of themselves. They're starting to recognize how they have almost been kind of beholden to that. that ways in which they may have thought that they were, making choices of free will, it was actually very much motivated from that place of distortion within them. Somebody who was almost being kind of propelled or lured in a certain direction based on that fear, leaning into that octave, leaning into that vibration, which has kind of culminated in the sense of isolation for them in a lot of ways, having surrounded themselves with people and circumstances that didn't really have their best interests at heart, that weren't really there, that couldn't really endure the stormy times. And so in this kind of period of isolation, in this period of, maybe just having the bare essentials, not having a lot of people around, needing to start over, start fresh in some capacity, and they're doing this kind of inventory, they're recognizing this very kind of unique and pure and very nurturing vibration that you hold, and that this connection really was that sort of sanctuary, that safe space that they have kind of put themselves on the outskirts of, and it's a decision that they're extremely regretting at this point in time. And they also say, I do talk about you. So this can tie in with the element of somebody who might be getting counseling at this point in time, and who is really in this process of kind of trying to liberate themselves from some shadows and some distortions. This circumstance with you being very significant in terms of kind of the regrets that this person has. This element of talking can also refer to praying, which is coming up, praying for some guidance, for some deliverance, some kind of a sign on how to try to make this situation right, on what they should do, how they can turn the page in this circumstance. They also say, I'm severing ties with the karmic partner. So this can relate to this energy even of kind of ghosting and walking away, and this devastation could indicate a choice that this person had made to move in a different direction romantically in the past. Maybe leaving you for somebody else, making you feel like an option, abandoning you. Karmic partners, karmic energies can also relate to friends. That can be family. That can be belief systems. That can be lifestyles. That can be that energy of distortion, that self-sabotage. All of these things, and many things, probably multiple things, are sort of falling away from this person's reality. They're seeing them with fresh eyes and kind of understanding that even maybe the opinions of others, maybe friends and family that didn't approve of this connection, didn't approve of you, didn't approve of this dynamic. And, this person chose to, again, lean into that energy of fear, to kind of pull away or extinguish the connection in the interest of kind of fitting in or accommodating with what other people were saying or were projecting upon them. This person has started to see that with fresh eyes and is kind of taking back their power, is moving into that space of autonomy, really recognizing and seeing, what do I want, what resonates with me, what lights up my soul, what sets my heart on fire, versus what other people are kind of dictating or spelling out as sort of the proper way to do things, the right kind of partner, the way that things should be carried out. They also say, I've been sending you messages in the 5D. So you could be getting a lot of telepathic messages from this person, feeling their energy. Again, that element of dreams coming through, where they're connecting with you, they're focusing on you, they're thinking about this, in this energy of regret, which is then projecting energy towards you. This could be something, it feels like, where it might be a little distracting, or even a little bit annoying to kind of feel this person. You may have, again, it may have taken a while to kind of pick up the pieces to move in another direction, or you're making that attempt. And so kind of feeling this influx of this person, it might feel almost intrusive at this point in time, that you're trying to redirect your focus. You're trying to, move in another direction of your life, in a sense of almost the past trying to pull you back to some degree. And so if you've been wondering if this is just, some kind of a something you've been unable to kind of let go of, or an indication of more you need to release, this can really be a confirmation from this person that they have in fact been directing a lot of their attention and focus to you, despite what they may or may not be demonstrating in the 3D sense, that internally there's a lot of attention focused on you, on what has happened in the past, this energy of regret, wanting to kind of correct this, or wishing that they had done things better. And that is translating into you feeling them, you sensing them, you dreaming about them, you receiving that telepathy, picking up on that, those emotions, those words, those messages, those thoughts. So all of that can then hopefully provide you with some kind of a confirmation that you know, it's not you, it's literally them. Like they are literally kind of projecting themselves to you consciously or unconsciously through this kind of direct focus on the circumstances that exist between you and what has happened in the past. And they also say, I'm really sensitive deep down. I just put up a front. So this is confirmation of kind of this person being emotionally avoidant, the intensity of this connection, or even some kind of fear of commitment, fear of intimacy, that at a certain point in the past, this connection, the energy between the two of you touched on a nerve within them, and they chose that route of fear. They chose to avoid this, to pull back in their comfort zone, to push this connection away, move in the direction of something that was less intense, that was safe, that was ordinary, that was known. But it's something where, you know, even in that process, that action and everything that has ensued from there, this has affected them. This has stayed with them. This is somebody who, you know, as much as they might not be comfortable with showing emotions, they do have a depth of feeling within them. This is somebody who's easily wounded, may have been substantially wounded in the past, and just developed this really kind of strong armor around themselves, that anything that's kind of was in the arena of sort of reaching that core, that center of themselves, where they were still carrying a lot of wounds, they kind of pushed it away, deflected it away, questioned it, mistrusted that. And so again, this element of it was them, it wasn't you. This is something within them that they are now in this place of recognizing that the way that they've been going about this, the way that they've been dealing with this, that they've been projecting this out, it has yielded dissatisfactory results for them. This is an energy of somebody who's been building sandcastles through this sort of behavior, this tendency. And now that kind of these, you know, these ocean waves, this tsunami, these changes have come in, they're starting to recognize how what they had built, even kind of their coping mechanisms, how it washed away everything they had around them in a certain sense. It's washed away kind of a view of themselves, or even a perception of kind of the effectiveness of this coping mechanism, or what that has kind of yielded for them. And so somebody who's starting to really tap into that, who's starting to recognize these feelings, address these things, acknowledge these things within themselves, as opposed to continuing to run away as they had in the past. So I'm going to get some guidance for you, group 2, about the circumstances. Okay, and we have do something for someone. Give your attention to another. So this is really encouragement to continue to redirect your focus, continue to pull your attention away as much as possible from kind of the difficulties you experienced in the past with this person. This is definitely guidance to continue to prioritize your own healing journey. Allow this person the time and space to feel this discomfort, to go through this experience. You might be somebody who resonates as an empath. You might be a very giving person, a very nurturing person. Despite what has happened, you may still have a lot of love for this individual. And so sensing them in a period of distress, watching a reading like this, where you are, you know, getting these kind of indications that there's a lot going on with them. They're in a heavy and dark period. It might almost be a natural inclination to want to, you know, direct a lot of attention to them, direct a lot of focus to them, open that door again, reach out to them, make yourself available, participate, kind of flood them with all of this loving energy, again, out of this desire to help and to heal, which is a very noble quality. That is a very admirable quality. But you are guided at this point in time to continue your efforts to direct that urge to heal and to give and to help, to continue to direct that onto yourself. That this person at this phase of their life, in this phase of their journey, kind of the vibrations that they have put out have come back to them. It is not intended to punish them. This is intended to teach them. These are lessons they need to learn on their own. This is a time period that they need to sit in this. They need to find the way to pick themselves up. They need to become that medicine for themselves. They need this experience in order to really change who they are and how they are moving through the world. So again, this very loving and giving energy that you have, it's very appropriate, to pray for this person, send them love, but to ensure that it's not at the expense of yourself. Don't deplete yourself. Don't try to, fix them energetically, or even go about this healing work on yourself with the intention that it will then heal them. It will then help them. Yes, this is a byproduct. The work that you do on yourself to heal yourself, it does have an effect on this person. It will open up the door. It will be that beacon. It will be that point on the horizon that they individually then can recognize and strive for. But this process must be done just as you have been doing this alone. They must do this alone. And so any kind of urge to sort of heal or give back, again, making that investment on yourself first and foremost at this point in time will yield the greatest fruit for your journey moving forward in life and whatever direction you choose to take it. If this is somebody that you at this point would not entertain the possibility of kind of a reconciliation, somebody you don't want to hear from or don't want to hear from at this point in time, then again, kind of not lingering in that kind of energy of bitterness or resentment, but choosing to direct your focus toward relationships which bring you a sense of joy, bring you a sense of fulfillment, where there's reciprocity, people that are also focused on their own healing and transcending of obstacles and circumstances, can be very nurturing. It can be very cathartic. It can be very healing. It can help to continue you along your path, to take this experience with this person, garner the wisdom from that. Allow this experience to make you a kinder person, a more compassionate person, a more loving person, a stronger person, a more self-assured person, a more empowered person. And by moving into that space of boundaries and tenderness, you're an example for this person energetically, so that if they make that choice to do the work on themselves, there's almost a map on how to do that, an energetic map for them. And even in other capacities and other manners, the way that you do this for yourself, it puts you into alignment with, again, people that can see you, that can respect you, that have done this work on themselves, that have worked through any kind of distortions related to avoidant emotional attachments or other kind of emotional issues within themselves. This is a guidance to continue that forward progress. Feel whatever is triggered. Honor those feelings, allow those feelings to move through you as you continue to move forward in your life. So I'm going to get some initials for you now. Group 2, this could be first, middle, or last name, maybe you or this person, or it could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. We've got N, I, O, G, V, R, Y, M, P, F, B, and K. So those are your messages, group 2. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. When you do that, it helps the video to reach others that might benefit from these messages, and it also helps my channel to grow, so I deeply appreciate that. If you would like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I also sell handmade jewelry in my Etsy shop if you're interested in checking that out as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, group 3. You chose the Satin Spar along with these cards, which I'll take a look at in a minute. This will kind of give an overview of what this person who has been dreaming of you or who you've been dreaming of, what they want to say. So I'm going to start with some tarot to get some clues about who this person is, some zodiac signs, maybe a little bit about what's going on in the situation with you to help identify them. Okay, so we have the Four of Wands. So that is fire energy, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Got the World, which for me as a reader is fixed energy, Aquarius, Taurus, Leo, and Scorpio. Eight of Wands, so more fire energy. Nine of Swords, which is air energy, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. King of Cups, water energy, Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. And Queen of Pentacles, earth energy, Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. So with the Four of Wands, it's often called the twin flame card, the 1111 card. So you might resonate as a twin flame, and you may consider this person, perhaps somebody that you're dreaming of. You might consider them your twin flame. You could also be seeing 1111 a lot, or other angel numbers, maybe kind of these synchronicities in conjunction with when you're thinking about this person, or when you've been in this person's presence. This definitely brings this energy of some kind of a stability at one point in time, some kind of a sense of certainty that you had about this person, about who they are, about what you want with them moving forward. And this card here with this kind of this church in the background. This could have been somebody that you saw as a long-term potential. You saw this person as a long-term partner. You really felt that union in a 3D sense was kind of inevitable with you and this person. You were both working towards that at some point in the connection, in the relationship. Things were going really well. You shared the same values, the same goals, the same desires for partnership with one another. And we're really building toward that. But with the World card here, this can indicate that all of that sort of came to a conclusion. That maybe, for various reasons and different circumstances, the two of you needed to kind of move in different directions. There's a sense here of almost incompletion in this card. As well, this Four of Wands, where there's no people in this. It's just kind of a structure and then these wands over here. So this could be something where this person just didn't really follow through on promises that were made. At some point in time, this journey that you were on, they sort of abandoned that. They couldn't really keep up. You were progressing further along this journey than they were. There was some kind of a distance between the both of you. This can also really tie in with the World here to some kind of cycles, maybe some patterns and habits, shadows within this person and within you that were really triggered by the dynamic of this connection. You may have chosen to work on these things. This person may have chosen to just kind of remain stuck, remain stagnant, remain in these patterns within themselves, to where the evolution forward on a personal level, it doesn't feel like it was in sync. With the Eight of Wands, this card of communication, there could have been kind of difficulties in communication where, you started off very much in alignment, but then kind of your desires and your goals shifted. You started moving in different directions from one another. And ease of communication that may have been there was kind of replaced with a lot of miscommunication, or even things that this person said, just didn't really align with where you would imagine the connection going. There might have been some kind of a significant communication as well, where they cut things off, saying that they didn't see a future with you. They didn't really feel that you two had the same kind of desires and goals in mind, that they had another direction they wanted to go in their life, or even some things that they still wanted to experience. They weren't ready to settle down. They weren't ready for this commitment, for marriage, or the intensity of this connection with you. You know, it could have even been this idea of twin flames was introduced to this person and they kind of shut that down. It was something that they weren't comfortable with exploring. They weren't open to that idea. Things you had expressed maybe of a spiritual nature to this person really sort of conflicting with their own kind of worldview, their own belief system. There's an energy here of this person almost feeling that you two are too incompatible to really make things work. And they could have said something to that extent in the past. Maybe even with that Eight of Wands, kind of either a series of communications where then the situation sort of dissolved, or again, this idea of kind of this Four of Wands and there being no people in this scenery, in this card. A lot of kind of ignoring messages that you'd sent, ignoring texts, sort of one-way communication. You know, maybe even efforts you had made or experiences you'd had with telepathy, trying to reach out to this person and getting nothing in return. Almost just, you know, kind of like if somebody has blocked your phone number and you're sending messages and they just kind of go off into the ether somewhere, off into this black hole somewhere, and you know, there's no kind of recognition of that. There's no sort of knowing if they have seen these things, if they have registered, if they are choosing to respond or just choosing to ignore, and kind of that leading also with this Nine of Swords to a lot of maybe despair on your end, a lot of confusion, again with this energy of almost somebody not following through on promises that were made, or again this energy of the two of you being very much in tandem, very much in sync, very much activated by even this twin flame dynamic and the ideas that you had of kind of what this would lead to, in this person not kind of following through on that, not making those same sort of advancements as you were making, and sort of the distress that left you with, the confusion that left you with, the anxiety that this has left you with, these unanswered questions, these kind of unresponded to messages, or you know, just what you are almost feeling with this person being very contrary to what is being displayed or said or is being held back on in the material sense in terms of communication. So some kind of a disconnect there with the direction and momentum that the connection has been taking. Maybe even a situation of, you know, you've been watching tarot readings for a while. You've been getting all these indications that communication is coming, that this person is coming, they're coming back around, cycles have ended. And then you're left in the sense of you're not hearing from them. They haven't picked up the phone. They haven't reached out. They haven't responded to your communications. It's just more of the same of what you'd experienced with them. And sort of that sense of loss that this has left you with. With this idea here of the King of Cups, this can talk about somebody that, you know, you have a very profound love for, and on an energetic level, you're really sensing that connection, a lot of tangible chemistry, a lot of maybe innuendo with you and this person, something very palpable about that, especially if you are sensitive to energies that you're able to perceive, you're able to pick up on subtle cues within this person, within their body language, within their, you know, even just the way they direct energy towards you. And that revealing so much beyond and kind of in a deeper layer and a deeper level than what they are saying or what they are withholding in a material sense in terms of their words and actions, to where it could have led to a lot of confusion for you because you're feeling so intensely. You're feeling this bond. This person is giving all those energetic signals that they are feeling this too. They're very much on the same page with this as well. But then, you know, with this imagery here of the king, and he's sitting on this throne with the water around them. He's not touching the water. This person being very resistant to diving fully into this connection, to expressing their emotions. A sense of this person holding back on what they truly want to say, holding back on some kind of communication, maybe just keeping communication very casual between the both of you. This person being very guarded, very restrained. Again, not speaking the truth that you can almost anticipate is there, that you're almost feeling is there, that you're sensing is there from the higher self level, but in the 3D sense, for whatever reason, they're not diving into that. The Queen of Pentacles, this can really talk about kind of steps then that you have needed to take to redirect the focus on yourself, to kind of pull away from this expectation, to almost mourn this connection, mourn this loss, mourn this kind of dream that didn't come to fruition. And again, steps that you've taken to redirect that focus onto you, onto your own abundance, onto what can be learned from this circumstance, focusing on things that you can control. And also, again, this kind of discrepancy between what is felt in the emotional body, what is felt energetically, what moves between you and this person, what exists there in that kind of untouchable and yet decipherable space of energy versus what is being demonstrated in the 3D sense, in the material sense. Somebody who might just be very limited in what it is that they are giving to you, what it is they are showing to you. But beneath that, this suggestion of whatever they're showing you, there's so much more that you're not seeing. There's a sense of them really holding back, withholding, withdrawing. Even somebody who, you know, might have kind of told you that they didn't feel the same way about you, or that they didn't want to really continue this. It was too much. It was too intense. It was something that really wasn't sitting well with them, or they weren't ready for a connection. They weren't ready for a commitment. Whatever it is that they have said to you, whatever it is they have shown to you, this feels like something which is just, it's kind of, there's an overriding feeling of there being so much more to that whatever's been told to you is just, it's a limit, it's a fraction of the true intensity, the true depth and nature of what they are experiencing, that maybe because of that depth and nature has led to this this need to kind of ground themselves in reality, the need to focus on something that is more practical, that is more certain, that is more within their control. Somebody who maybe, you know, is just taking a lot of time to focus on work at this point, or other matters in their kind of mundane reality that feel less in this realm of just this intensity of feeling, you know, the intensity of this spiritual bond between the both of you. This person almost fearing that they would get swept away by their emotions, and so instead they're in turn choosing to focus on work or practical matters, you know, some kind of quest for money or power, that being the priority, and kind of all of this leading to a lot of, it feels like a lot of mutual distress, that whatever is being demonstrated or held back on, or whatever was said in the past or not said in the past, it was something that, you know, led to a lot of distress, a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear. It was very much fear motivated, and it's something which is really stuck with this person, with the swords, and this being an energy of communication. There's words that were not spoken, that kind of linger in the air between the both of you, unfinished conversations, maybe even that idea of messages you'd sent that there was no response. To a certain extent, this person has received those. Maybe they've read these things and wanted to reply, wanted to give into this, wanted to, you know, trust and believe in kind of the magic and the intensity and the potential that was here. But again, because of fears or just this being so outside of the comfort zone of what they have known and experienced love to be, that they've really held back from that. They've kind of not taken that opportunity. They've withdrawn that communication, and all of that leaving them as well with this kind of this sick sort of feeling, not feeling very good about that. Nine of Swords is also a card of dreams, or more specifically nightmares usually. So this can be something where the nature of the dreams that you are having about this person at this time might be very intense. It could be you know, a lot of kind of heavy encounters with them, or, you know, just even if it's not like a heaviness, when you're dreaming about this person, how tangible that is, touching on that love, that expression, that flow of energy between the both of you, which is so contrary to whatever's being demonstrated in a 3D sense. This can, you know, just kind of, when you wake up, you're in tears, in this sense of longing, in the sense of really missing this person, wishing that the dreams that you have, or this dream of forever that you had with this person, a sense of kind of anguish that is not the case. That is not the case at present, or even this kind of fear that it might not ever be the case in the material world with them. And so some pretty powerful and profound dreams. It feels very much mutual for the two of you, that there is this shared experience of, in that space, beyond the gatekeeper of ego. The two of you are limitless. The two of you are one, you are unified, everything makes sense. Again, here with these two kind of luminous wands, and this idea of, again, this kind of twin flame or twin soul connection, that in a certain capacity, in that dream space from the higher self space, you know, these limits that now are in place between you, that this person has put up, that those are obsolete. And kind of learning to sort of grapple with that, holding space for the truth of what you experience in those higher realms and the truth of what is being demonstrated to you in the material sense. So some kind of a struggle to kind of gain stability with that, and also with these two cards that can really talk about communication energy. It could be a lot of dreams that are happening, a lot of telepathy that is happening, but again, just these things being kind of in that etheric sense, not a lot happening, or not a lot that's very productive or very telling or very revealing in a material sense. So I'm going to take a look at these oracle cards now, group 3, and see what is this person that you are dreaming of or that is dreaming about you. What do they want to say? And we have miracles. So this can really talk about this person as they are sort of sitting with this very palpable energy. They may have rejected you. They may have been kind of hesitant to really open up to this, that they're really feeling that they're in a state of trying to gain the courage to change these circumstances. This is somebody also who could be going through a lot of heart chakra activation, heart chakra healing that is needing to take place. Almost the more that they are holding back from you, and whatever encounters are happening energetically, the exchange in that sense, what's taking place in the dream space, that it is providing them kind of that necessary fuel in order to be able to move beyond these fears, break out of these tendencies and habits and patterns of avoidance in this connection, in this circumstance. Maybe somebody with a fear of commitment that they are starting to try and overcome. It feels like a shift has happened within this person already that is somewhat miraculous, or that it's a prelude to something miraculous that may take place in the future with this. Somebody you had kind of, again, maybe given up hope of this thing changing, this situation changing, this person, acting upon their feelings, recognizing this connection, honoring this connection. And there's a suggestion here, again, from their higher self, that they do very much want change in this circumstance. And it's change which, it may take a miracle for that to happen. This feels like something where the higher self is very frustrated with the ego self. There seems to be a large kind of chasm between these things, that as much as their higher self is really trying to kind of reach out to this person, a lot of signs, a lot of synchronicities, 1111, seeing your name a lot, seeing people that remind them of you, just all these kind of these things that are coming in, this energy from the higher self, and from, the higher realms that's kind of pouring into this 3D person, into that ego self, the ways in which the two of you meet in that dream space and the healing that is transferred. There's a degree of this being a very stubborn person, of this being somebody who is deeply entrenched in this shadow energy within themselves. And that this is taking a lot of effort. This is taking a lot of kind of time to sort of break through that hard crust around this person in order to really get them to open up to their heart space. But the signs are being recognized. This person is taking note. In some way, a corner has been turned. That this kind of avoidance and this kind of deliberate blindness, or not wanting to participate or explore this connection further, that something is starting to really get through to them. Something is starting to really hit home for them. They're starting to recognize kind of the miraculous nature of the dynamic that they have with you, how different this is from other connections, even in terms of the intensity of how they are feeling you and experiencing you and communicating with you, despite their best efforts to kind of shut this down in a material sense. And we also have problem resolved. So again, this idea of breaking through, something shifting within this person, kind of a transformation from the inside out, that whatever energy they have been in with you up to this point, however they have received or interacted with this connection, that is shifting, that is changing. And it's something that may, again, take some time. This could just be right at that kind of crucial genesis point. almost this idea of some kind of a cocoon that they had placed themselves in is now being broken open. And when they emerge from that, those wings, that wing of transformation that they have really developed or recognized within themselves, even that might be kind of clumsy at first. So this feels like somebody that is really trying to let you know at this point in time that things are changing. They're changing beneath the surface. This might be kind of a wobbly process. This might be something that is, a little bit difficult to accomplish, difficult to sustain. This is outside of this person's comfort zone. The intensity of this connection is outside of what they have come to know and expect of love and connection. And it's something where, if they had looked at this as problematic, if they had looked at this as kind of an intrusive connection, something they didn't want, something they tried to kind of push away or shoo away, there's some resolution that is happening to that, where they are understanding kind of the mystical component of this next level, this intensity, is actually it's for their benefit, that this is not something to be looked at as kind of a punishment or something to avoid, but it's something that they're really starting to honor this. They're really starting to kind of cherish this very unique energy. They're starting to explore this and understand this. They're starting to allow this connection to illuminate within themselves as well blockages that they may have had that had really been triggered by the intensity of this, the circumstances of this, and some issues within themselves to be kind of emotionally avoidant as well. They're starting to correct these things. They're starting to honor these things and to look at these things and recognize these things, and how that tendency within them had kind of spilled over into kind of a hesitancy to explore and participate in an intense love connection. And we also have seasons change. So again, this idea of something transforming. The way this person is viewing you and this connection is it's changing, but it's changing within them. This is something that, this change, it might just even be kind of the seed of activation. There's so much more that needs to be kind of worked through and looked at. A lot of shadows that have been illuminated, that have been triggered even from the start in this connection with this person that they may have been avoiding, that they're now starting to look at. Ways in which they could have projected or placed blame. They're starting to turn that lens inward and see that these are actually mirrors of some things that dwell within them, so that they are able to really address these things, work through these things. Coming into the space also with this red here, this is reminding me of kind of root chakra and kind of that base that relates to kind of our feeling of fear or security, that feeling of safety. Somebody who, is maybe needing to work on that, feeling comfortable in their own skin, feeling, comfortable enough in themselves that they are willing to open up to love and the possibility that, even the best love story might come to a conclusion someday. They could have really gone through some devastations with heartbreak of the past that were very detrimental, that almost destroyed them in a certain capacity. And so there's been this hesitation to open up again. They've kind of climbed up on this little safety zone and this little hilltop, this little mountaintop, this little refuge, and they've not allowed themselves to really dip into emotional waters again or for a long time. But that there's something that's transforming within them, this confidence that's building, that even in the possibility that, opening up to love again, opening up to this connection again, that, things might crumble in the future, that they're secure enough within themselves that they will survive, they will overcome this, they will transcend this. And by coming to that place of recognition within themselves, in their own ability to kind of meet and sustain their own needs in other ways, kind of this feeling of safety within the body, their sense of safety and their place in the world, as that really changes, as that becomes more kind of solid and established, and this person is then able to kind of bring those changes within them into changed behavior in the outside world. Again, with this idea of seasons, this feels like a gradual process, maybe something almost like they've just entered a new season within themselves. This kind of beginning stages of metamorphosis, where it's an important corner that has been turned, but it's not something that immediate action overnight would be so evidenced in the material world. There's a lot that needs to take place within this person, but those wheels have been set in motion for that to unfold and take place. And we also have shadow self. So this again ties in with that idea of something that's become apparent to this person, that by pushing this connection away, not acting upon this, again, very palpable and tangible chemistry and feelings, a lot that's understated, a lot that, is held back on, but is nonetheless able to be perceived, that there's a reason you are feeling this connection with this person. There's a reason that you are drawn to this person. It goes beyond anything that would just be kind of a delusion, but that there is something actually there that you have picked up on energetically, that this person has picked up on energetically, that you're both very compelled to one another, but that the energy of fear, the shadows within, that shadow self, those unhealed distortions, have also as a consequence been triggered by the light that this connection, that this potential, that this dynamic between the two of you represents. And so a sense here of this person understanding now that moving into a space of forgiveness for themselves and compassion for themselves, for how they may have kind of behaved in this situation, recognizing that and kind of encouraging you as well to recognize and take the perspective of this circumstance and what has unfolded and kind of where you are at currently, this necessary period of isolation and separation from one another. If a hope of union in a 3D sense is ever possible, it first requires the two of you to come into that space of union within yourselves, for yourselves, and by yourself. That means confronting these shadows. That means, changing your view on how, other people, this person and other people in general, how they have treated you, how they have interacted with you, what can be gained from that? How can you kind of turn those experiences inward to say, what is something that needs to be worked on within myself? What is something, maybe in the form of boundaries that need to be strengthened? How is this a projection of some form of distortion within me that is manifested maybe in a different way, but is archetypally, thematically the same? How have I kind of inflicted these same patterns or trends onto other people in kind of, again, a large and nebulous sense, but in the same time thematically related to experiences that you've had? And so all of this experience with this person, the totality of it, what is shifted for them at this point in time, what is shifting for you now at this point in time is, again, this period of introspection, this journey within, this shadow work. This feels like somebody who is not content to any longer emotionally avoid. Something has to give. Through the space, through the distance, through the silence, through the avoidance, they feel this connection. This connection persists, it perpetuates. It's a solid force within them. It's an unquestionable force within them. Somebody who may have been in denial, in avoidance, they can no longer avoid that. The reality of that is sinking in to them now. It is becoming apparent to them now. They're really starting to question themselves. Again, that element of anxiety and this fear of, what have I done? Why did I push this person away? Why didn't I participate more in this? This is everything that I was looking for, and I wrecked it. I didn't, make the most of it. I avoided it as opposed to participating in that, letting that infuse me, letting that, kind of release me from this sort of self-imposed prison of heartbreaks or, kind of emotional wounds. And so this person, in that place of questioning is really recognizing kind of some of these deep things they need to work on within themselves. This work has begun, or at least the knowledge that, a certain gateway must be crossed, a certain threshold must be crossed. There's a doorway that has opened for them, an aperture which has become apparent. That, kind of what has been sort of stimulated or initiated by this connection, kind of the deep fears and the deep pain on both of your ends. This is an opportunity for transcendence. It's an opportunity for ascension. It's an opportunity to break habits, to break out of cycles, to break out of patterns. It's an opportunity to, become that self-healing mechanism as opposed to looking for that kind of remedy outside of oneself. And we also have forgiveness. So this is a major theme here where this person is kind of working on starting to forgive themselves for operating out of this energy of avoidance, operating out of that energy of shadow, things that they may have done that really, derailed the connection or thwarted the connection. Somebody who's really learning to balance that light and shadow aspect within themselves, starting to step into that place of not using this experience in another experiences in their life as a form of criticism, as a way to kind of tear themselves down further and reinforce any sort of feelings of unworthiness or fear surrounding love. But somebody who's starting to really make friends with that energy, accept that part of themselves, honor that part of themselves, counteract that part of themselves by, making the choice to sort of improve upon or reinforce areas that they are courageous in, elements of themselves that is fearless, or that are fearless rather, when it comes to stepping out into new territory, seeking to cultivate trust within themselves, trust in that internal guidance, trust in where they're being led, trust in the signs that they are seeing that are kind of pointing them in a particular direction. Somebody who also wants to come back for forgiveness, wants to approach with kind of an explanation of sort of the mindset they were operating out of. Somebody who understands that, in order to be a recipient of forgiveness, they must first forgive themselves. Somebody who's also recognizing that the best apology is in the form of changed action. So again, this is a process here. This feels like something that a corner has been turned internally within this person, in general in their life, and very specifically as it relates to this dynamic disconnection, how they're viewing you, what has happened in the past, the potential for the future, and what this means in the present. But it's something that, again, it's still a journey. This idea, again, of seasons where this is a process. This is not somebody who's going to, reach out tomorrow in a place of readiness, in a place of balance. But they're starting to do that. They're starting to make those corrections within themselves. They're starting to look at things that they've avoided. They're starting to shine light on, aspects of themselves that may have, again, been projected out, but are really just, it's work that can be done internally. And through that process of internal work, then this is something that, it opens the door of possibility to at least some closure with this person in the future. If this is not somebody, through your own journey and your own development, if you choose to move in another direction with your life, you choose to open yourself up to love with somebody else, or just, investing on yourself and not really wanting to entertain this, at least at this point, as a possibility for a dynamic, then this person really, just wants to be able to provide that closure, provide that kind of vindication or that explanation. But there's also this deep desire within them that, on the other side of this work that they do, that the two of you can actually make this connection work, that you can actually partake in this very unique opportunity that the two of you have been gifted in this lifetime with one another. So kind of a heavy journey that lies ahead, but one which carries a lot of rewards for this person. So I'm going to get some messages from their higher self for you now, group 3. Let's see what they want to say. All right, and they say, it was you. It was always you. So they are recognizing you as their counterpart. It's kind of the love that they have been searching for. And that is leading to a lot of kind of heavy feelings. This idea of self-sabotage. Why did I act the way that I acted? Why did I push this person away? Why did I not seize the opportunity to experience this? That this is everything that I was looking for. This is a very healing connection. This is a very loving connection. It's a very next level connection. And they've been unable to find that elsewhere. They've been unable to kind of even find that as they've been sort of reviewing their past. And it's left them with this sense of kind of defeat, of anxiety, a feeling of it almost being too little too late when they come back. But that knowledge is there, that recognition is there, that sameness is there. They're recognizing you again as that element of almost the yin to their yang, or the yang to their yin, depending on whatever it is you resonate as, divine feminine or divine masculine. Somebody that was really kind of closed off to that, or was unwilling to admit that to themselves, has now turned a page where they've taken that very crucial first step of admitting that. That's the first step to change. They've admitted that to themselves. You are their counterpart. You are their person. You are the love that they have been seeking. And now they're at this place of, now what do they have to do in order to kind of step into that, to become that within themselves, to become that love that they are seeking in order to, you know, have kind of the greatest and optimal potential to create different results in this, to be able to come forward to you with something of value to give, to be able to turn the page in this situation away from, you know, whatever dissonance and avoidance and kind of disappointment might have been the themes before, so that the two of you can embark on kind of a productive, a positive and uplifting chapter to really be able to experience and grow through and help to sustain and nurture this very unique bond that the two of you share. They also say, you really have been by my side. I see that. I do cherish you for that. So they are recognizing the constancy of the bond between the both of you, that despite whatever has happened or has not happened in the 3D sense, whatever their actions or inactions were, they're able to really decipher this constancy, this kind of the eternity of the love that you have for them, this perpetuity of it, this unconditional love. As much as you may be needing to invest on yourself, focus your attentions elsewhere, opening your heart up to love in the form of another. There is still this core of love, this bond that exists between the both of you, that sustains the two of you. It motivates the two of you. It challenges the two of you. And they really are, as much as they might have kind of shunned this or pushed this connection away, or you know, kind of gotten cold feet, were resistant to really taking this very tangible and palpable dynamic and connection and attraction out into you know, material action, kind of acting upon these things, taking the lead, accepting that cup of love you have to offer. Instead, by pushing that away, it's essentially that they almost feel that they pushed away a component of themselves. They've rejected a component of themselves. They have turned a light component of themselves into an aspect of shadow. They've hidden that away, and this is now really coming to the light for them. And they're starting to recognize and appreciate also kind of that example, that beacon, that point on the horizon, that guiding light, that first star at nightfall, that they are then able to kind of navigate their way through these kind of shadows into that space of forgiveness for themselves. And they also say, don't focus on who wants me. I want you. So they're very singularly minded in terms of their feelings about you. There's this sense of certainty that if they may have even chosen to go in another direction romantically, that this is something, it's not providing the fulfillment that they had hoped. The grass was not greener on the other side in whatever way that resonates. Maybe this is even just somebody that, you know, has chosen to remain single, wanted to keep their options open, wanted to see what else was out there, didn't want to settle for the first thing, or felt that, you know, whatever qualities would have fulfilled them, that it was, you know, this elusive other person kind of just out there in this seeking and this searching for the one. And in all that seeking and all that searching and all that running and all that avoiding, they have now come to this conclusion that you are everything that they have wanted. You are everything that they have been looking for. And so now the journey begins, that journey into self, to come into that balance, that place within self, that forgiveness of self for the actions that they have taken, for actions that were even taken upon them, to come into the space of reconciliation within them in order to be able to be that vessel and that conduit of the energy of reconciliation in this connection in the future. They also say, you really are the best thing that has ever happened to me. So this connection, as much as it has profoundly affected you, changed the direction of your life, aligned you in some way with a healing path, or with your, maybe you found your life purpose, you found some other form of community. You know, if you resonate as a twin flame, that might have really been kind of an avenue or a source that has led you on to this deep sort of journey within, a journey to self-realization. You may have really, you know, forged some deep friendships with people that you have met along, walking this same path, walking the same journey. Opportunities could have opened up for you, professional opportunities, spiritual opportunities, personal opportunities. In some way, whatever ways you have sought to kind of deal with and digest and kind of process and come to a space of peace and learning to live with and kind of move with and flow with this dynamic with this person. In the same way, energetically, they are really inspired by that. They are really inspired by you. That this bond, the efforts that you have taken to kind of work with this and move with this and flow through this, it's been energetically transferred to them. They're seeing you, they're recognizing you, maybe watching you from afar, or even sensing some kind of shift in your vibration that is motivation for them. Shadow work that they may have been avoiding for quite some time, as they're able to kind of recognize the work that you've done, kind of the deep lows that you have been to, that beyond rock bottom depth that you have been to, and the ways in which you have really brought yourself up from out of that. You've risen from out of that. You've transcended. You've moved through that and come out on the other side. You've come out stronger. You've come out more loving, more compassionate, more empowered than you were before. This connection, this situation, having as difficult as it may have been, as confusing as this process may be, that it has brought out, it has helped you to recognize the strength in yourself that you may have on a certain level been unaware of before. It has helped you to recognize a level of tenderness within yourself that you may have been unable to recognize before. You're actively working to kind of recapture and reclaim your own worth, your own worthiness, placing value on the love you have to give, regardless of other people's ability to acknowledge that, to receive that, and to reciprocate that in kind. And so with this tandem energy, it's very much parallel paths. What you're doing affects this person. They're starting to recognize also that kind of the light that you hold, the role that you have for them, this dynamic between the both of you. As much as they are kind of getting to know that, they are also getting to know themselves. The light that they see in you is helping them to recognize that light within themselves. That this difficulty, has been this catalyst to this deep potential of transformation within this person, work they may have been avoiding for quite some time, that is now they're confronted with that. They're making that choice to confront this, to do this work finally. And it may be a long process. It may be a rocky road of, several steps forward only to be followed by several steps back, but it's an energy of momentum. And it's something to where, if they don't get to the place of readiness, or, just your circumstances carry you in different directions, and, a reconciliation doesn't happen, a 3D union doesn't happen, they don't get to that place of courage to be able to step forth and speak their truth. Regardless of all of that, of those outcomes and those results, those potentials that are off in the horizon, that are off somewhere in the land of possibility in the future, this person has deeply been affected by this, and it's something that they will always carry gratitude and love in their heart for you, for really even just being that momentary flash and example of the true face of love, the true nature of love, as very contrary to the narratives that they have had and the experiences that they have had, and the ways even in which they have been able to love themselves, or the lack of love that they have had for themselves prior to encountering you. They also say, I have been manifesting our connection. So this can really talk about work that they have been doing within themselves, or starting to do within themselves. This knowledge, this realization that they have of who you are, what you mean to them, what this connection means to them, this desire to kind of retrace their steps, this energy of wishing they had done something different in the past. This feels like someone who's doing this work for themselves, by themselves, on themselves. But there's also this point that they are looking toward on the horizon. This idea that, on the other side of this work is the possibility that they can, ascend, they can reach that height, they can become that light that they see in you, they can unearth that within themselves, and that the two of you will have this ability to really change the circumstances between you. This is somebody who wants to manifest a fresh start. They understand that, they have work, they have cleanup work, they have growth to do within themselves in order to, again, kind of be that apology in the form of changed action, in order to become that love that they wish to receive and exchange with you. And so this is somebody who's definitely putting that intention out there. It's kind of this, again, motivational factor to continue on this progress, on this path, and down this kind of this arduous work, this difficult and challenging and rewarding work within self, and even just the hope that there will be a possibility to manifest something different with you in the future. And we also have, I keep a close eye on your social media. So again, they could be watching you from afar, really observing your progress, very inspired by some changes that you have made in your life. Or even just this realization that they have come to, this epiphany, this awareness. And now they're starting to see you with fresh eyes. They're starting to appreciate you in this connection in a different way. They're very much drawn to you, very much longing for you. This idea of attention can also really then be the manifestation of dreams, daydreaming, telepathy, all this attention focused upon you in a certain way that is then transferring across that energetic realm in the form of, energetically they're emerging. They're there, they're popping back up in your mind, they're, popping back up in your dreams. And so all of that, if you've been questioning, is this all in your head? Are you just imagining? Is this wishful thinking? This can be a confirmation from their higher self that no, they have attention focused on you. What you're perceiving is actually there, it's real, it's true. Even if they're not saying anything in the 3D sense, in that internal landscape, in kind of that, the depths of the human heart and in the human mind, kind of behind those closed doors, there is a lot being invested energetically and attention-wise towards you, towards this connection, towards what has happened in the past, towards what they want to happen in the future. If you don't have social media, this can even just also tie into, again, this person really thinking about you, thinking about the past, daydreaming about you, tapping energetically into you, which you're receiving that signal, you're receiving those messages, you're receiving that kind of the result and the residue of all that attention that is being directed towards you. And again, just this idea here as well is the eye on the prize with this card, that the work that they are needing to do within themselves and that they're embarking upon, that in some way this connection or you is kind of motivation or inspiration for that, that they're liking what they're seeing, they're liking the vibration that you put out. It's something that they want to achieve within themselves, for themselves, and also in order to kind of become more capable and able to kind of meet you at that vibration, to match that vibration. So I'm going to get some guidance for you, group 3, about the situation. Okay, and we have spiritual connection. A relationship has a connection that goes beyond this lifetime. So confirmation for you right there, if you resonate as a twin flame or a twin soul, that's who this person is. I mean, your own intuition is the best guide for that. We should never be looking for external confirmation in these matters. Part of this process and part of this journey, any of these journeys, is to learn to trust that inner knowing. Even when that inner knowing, is kind of there's a contrast in what you're seeing or what other people are telling you. Making space within yourself to honor that reality, the reality of what is being presented, what is being projected, honoring what this person is or is not willing to share and demonstrate and participate in as far as a connection is concerned, but also honoring that internal truth within you, that inner knowing about the connectedness of the two of you at that higher self level, at that soul level. Not putting your life on hold as well for, that period of time that hopefully, that energy that you're feeling above can be manifested in kind of this reality below. But moving forward in your life, moving towards your own abundance, towards your own healing, towards your own self-love, standing in that stance of empowerment, moving toward things which bring you a sense of joy, with the idea that by doing that, by honoring yourself, you honor this connection. Detaching from that expectation of results is the best way to ensure that the best possible results for the two of you, for everyone involved, will manifest. This is definitely confirmation here to continue to, progress down the path that you have been on. Whatever doors this has opened for you in terms of healing, maybe even spiritual gifts, tapping into these things, to look at this connection as a gift, to recognize as well with this idea of beyond this lifetime, that regardless of what happens in this lifetime, regardless of if the two of you come into some kind of 3D physical union in this life, regardless of if, you're both able to come onto the same page and things work out really well and it's off into the beautiful sunset for the two of you, regardless of if that happens or if this is a journey that, for the duration of of this lifetime remains and is constant in that energetic sense, and the two of you in a 3D capacity move in other directions. You open your heart up to loving other people, to experiencing love and abundance in other forms of connection. This is drawing that attention back to kind of the temporary nature of this lifetime, that your souls are eternal. You have shared many lifetimes together, with many different stories. Some of those stories working out very beautifully, other stories that were almost filled with tragedy. It's what you do with the time now, making the most of the opportunities that are here, but also not limiting yourself to the experience with this person in this lifetime, understanding that there will be other opportunities. At the conclusion of this lifetime, the two of you realize that unity, you realize that oneness, that wholeness, that perpetuity of the bond, the way in which you are, encouraging and supporting each other, and you are that support system in those higher realms, despite whatever in the flesh is occurring. Kind of moving into that higher perspective, honoring that, recognizing you are already in union, can then help you to be empowered by this circumstance, empowered by this connection. Recognize that you're never away from this person. You're never far from this person. The two of you are entwined, you are entangled, you are one as you continue to progress across this earthly journey. And so it's a relationship that kind of defies logic. It defies explanation, learning to be very comfortable with kind of that element of mystery, and also honoring sort of these answers and these inclinations, these feelings that you have within. Seeking to come to a space where, and we're only human, we do need external validation from time to time. That's nothing to be ashamed of or to, be hard on yourself about, when those occurrences happen, when you need some kind of external validation, when you're watching tarot readings, you're looking for signs, you're asking for some kind of a confirmation to, just kind of be that wink or that nudge to continue along your path. But seeking to move into that space of being beyond the need for validation, that the only validation necessary is that truth you feel inside. And when you get to that place, that can be that core of power that then enables you to kind of move further in your life, to experience the abundance that you are meant to encounter. This connection, as important as it is, as next level as it is not all there is out there for you. There are other experiences of love and abundance in many different forms that you are meant to encounter. And so coming into that place of being at peace with this, at whatever will or will not happen with this connection in a 3D sense, can again allow you to use this connection, use this bond, use this force that exists between the two of you, this very tangible and concrete and higher level love that is unbreakable, it's unshakable, it is always with you despite what is happening in the 3D sense, that can help to kind of propel you further into alignment with your purpose in this lifetime as an individual, with things and lessons that you as an individual have sought to accomplish or work through or understand, allowing this person the time and the space to do that as well. You two are one, but you have individual journeys. You have different things that you have set out to discover and to learn and to work through and to accomplish, allowing each other the time and space to do that in your own time, so that organically, whatever the best possible results and whatever will happen or unfold eventually in the future of this connection, allowing that the time and space to develop organically is the best way to honor this. By honoring yourself, you honor this connection. By honoring yourself, you are honoring this person. By allowing yourself to really understand this entwined nature, this core of love that you are, that involves both you and this other person, but is primarily about yourself, your experience. Understanding that in that same way, this dynamic applies. That core that is the two of you is a part of this person, but it is a journey for that, of that person, for that person as well. Coming into that place of reconciliation with this parallel path, and also kind of that unity in the higher self, can help to really transmute any stuck or sticky kind of energy surrounding this situation, and to view this instead as a gift. Even the difficulties, the pain, and the challenges, this has gifted you with the opportunity to really dive deeply into self, to become that love you wish to receive, to understand the nature of love as not something limited to flesh. It is not something limited to time. It is in fact timeless. It is eternal. Love is unbreakable. It is unshakable. It is the force that runs through everything. And so again, kind of honoring the spiritual component of this connection, using that to kind of empower you and fuel you, and at the same time honoring whatever is happening in the 3D sense for the two of you, as well as making space to honor kind of that higher truth of what exists between you in those intangible realms. So I'm going to get some initials for you now. Group 3. This can be first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or it could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. We've got H, I, G, X, S, F, P, W, L, B, Q, R, U, V, and M. So those are your messages, group 3. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. When you do that, it helps the video to reach others who might benefit from hearing these messages, and it also helps my channel to grow, which I deeply appreciate. If you would like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I also sell handmade jewelry in my Etsy shop if you're interested in checking that out as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.